Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. In this video we're going to be taking a first look at S-Class Kyle, who is going to be the next character coming to RTS. We have seen Kyle before. He visually looks fairly similar. I think he's got a different bird this time round, and I think his weapon actually looks different. He is still an alert character, so it is using the majority of what we've seen from Kyle before, but there's some slight tweaks. Just an FYI though, I am on the new live beta, so there might be some visuals that look different than what you're used to when it comes to me reviewing S-Class characters. It might look a little bit more like the mythic character reviews I've been doing lately. On the left hand side we see the avatar, which in the future we're going to be just seeing mythic art everywhere, but right now we see the avatar of Kyle, just as we have seen him in the past, as a maxed out S-Class with 30 veteran rings. He has got 3,660 attack, 3,873 defense, but 4,764 HP. He is of course an alert character. He is considered a support character, but if we look on the right hand side, his skills are all purple. And from what at least what I've learned from all the mythic characters that are coming into the game, when you see purple on the right hand side, it generally means controller. So that is why the controller was added to the game, and obviously before they would have just been considered a support character. In the 6-star era, Kyle was considered a controller as well, had quite a lot of control. We'll see what his rush as an S-Class has. It's called Astounding Speed. It's a 76 AP cost rush, so it's actually just normal speed. Up to 3 enemies get confused, disarm, and normalized for 3 turns. So a lot of control there. It's actually a hard lock, basically. He will be able to rush, basic attack, rush, and they will be constantly confused, constantly disarmed, and constantly normalized. Just a hard control pretty much. And I didn't actually really look, but the purple, I was like, yeah, damn, purple is definitely going to be a controller, isn't it? There's not much to say about this. Confuse is obviously very powerful. Disarm stops weapon from working, and the normalize stops specialist skills from working. So, you know, it does a big array of things. If you do manage to resist the confuse, or if you have focus, a lot of your kit's not going to work. Your weapons are going to be, those third slots are going to be kind of irrelevant, and normalize is obviously going to get rid of the really important specialist skills like command. I've commanded people with a normalized Rick so many times, and it is very annoying, and that is definitely what Kyle can do. Okay, so we are on turn 2, and we have commanded Kyle here. There are only 3 enemies to do his rush to, so it's going to hit all 3 of these characters. Doesn't matter who we select, we can just hit the rush button. If we did want to select a specific character, obviously they would definitely get it, and the other characters would be RNG. You'll see that all of these characters now have confuse, disarm, and normalize, except the leader. He cannot actually get normalized, which something actually that man on the moon brought up to me in a PM. While he doesn't have a specialist skill, Javi here, he is still normalized. And in terms of how trauma works and, you know, cleanses, it would actually be much more beneficial for a team that he still was normalized, even if he didn't have a specialist skill to normalized. This also happens with weapons. If they have a weapon in their hands that can't be disarmed, they actually just don't get disarmed. So I think this is maybe something that can maybe be tweaked, but when it comes to Kyle's rush, lots of control. So this rush on an attack team is going to be okay in terms of being on like that niche trauma team, or, you know, that sort of team. You know, control, bleed, burn, anything like that. But I mainly see Kyle as being a defense team character with those sort of stats, that sort of control in the rush. If he rushes, you're in a lot of trouble because he won't get out of that loop unless his active doesn't give him AP. If his active doesn't give him AP, he'll obviously do his active now and again, and he will not get AP. But I'm guessing it does give AP. Let's go across and have a look. So his active is called Trauma Kit. It is a turn 1 active, cooldown of 3 turns, number of uses 5, deal 2,000 trauma to a line of enemies for 3 turns, all teammates recover from trauma and get 100% trauma resist for 6 turns. This character gets 100% AP up. So yeah, there is AP up. It is going to happen turn 1, and he potentially could be commanded turn 1 with that sort of level of control. That is actually kind of crazy. The trauma cleanse is actually not going to proc trauma itself. It will just remove trauma. There'll be not any trauma damage, and then your entire team has got trauma resistance for 6 turns is just, yeah, obviously that's crazy. He does obviously do a little bit of trauma himself on top, but it's the 6 turn trauma resistance and 100% AP to himself that is going to be really, really, really powerful, especially against some of these teams where, you know, people are running Jesus on attack. And yeah, I think the time of Carl is fairly limited, but the time that he is going to be used, he's going to be very effective. Okay, so we are going to attack Kyle on a defense team. He's just behind Jesus. This is to show that his trauma will stack with the trauma from Jesus' active. I have done 3,000 of the trauma myself with Mateo's axe onto Rick. I just need to do the active of Jesus. Now I have got an impair resist mod on Kyle, so if he resists the impair, he will obviously be able to be command rushed turn 1. He does his active, gets 100% AP, gets commanded, and 3 people are getting heavy controlled there. As you can see, you can also see that the line of enemies was down the bottom. It was Jesus and Mateo now have 4,000 trauma each, and no one on the defense team has trauma themselves. They've also got a 6 turn trauma resist, which you'll see pop up with just like, yeah, there we go, on Kyle. Just this full, it looks ridiculous, honestly, it just looks ridiculous, but that's what a 6 turn trauma resist looks like. And that does mean that if I do my resist the next turn, let's just get up the next turn. If I try and do this, we'll do Jesus, it will just be immune, will be popping up above people's heads. Immune, immune, immune. Because they have obviously got 100% resist. That cannot be bypassed unless I have a character that can remove it, like Argus and Raven. I think that's pretty much it. So obviously an extremely powerful active skill. 100% AP, can rush turn 1. He's going to be quite annoying if you come up against him. I can see those Jesus, Connor, Kyle teams being absolutely impossible to deal with, honestly. Unless, I honestly can't really think how you could deal with them easily. You're going to have to get a lot of burn and bleed off really early and hope that they get taken out by it. And then you recover from... it's actually kind of crazy. There isn't enough days in the game, so these turn 1 actives are just going to run riot. Just going to run riot. At least for the moment. At least for the moment. This active skill especially is basically where the majority of Kyle's power is going to come from. But it just enables him to rush instantly, basically. And obviously that rush is disgusting. So to add to the sort of rest of his controller kit, he has got Neutralize. And that means when he attacks a character that has 80% or more adrenaline, that enemy will be impaired for 1 turn. Now, he's not actually going to do this for the first 3 turns. Like, the 3rd turn is the first time he'll do a basic attack. Because he'll be turn 1 active, he'll either be command turn 1, or he'll be just do a normal rush turn 2. Turn 3 is when he will do this. I think if I wanted to make a kit that was going to be ridiculous, and that's pretty much what Carl seems to be, just another kit that's a bit ridiculous, I would have had something that was either new or it was an on-defense thing. You know, maybe Indomitable or maybe like a confounding on defense. You know, something like that. Something that enabled him to control characters if he was hit. I really can't say. This is okay, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think it works with his kit because he's not basic attacking that often. Now, he has got an attached weapon, and this time around it is Kyle's sturdy, terrific tranquilizer gun. It has got 30% HP, a medium bonus to AP when attacking, and in the 3rd slot it is, when attacking, up to 3 teammates recover from all penalties. So, again, it is on the weapon, so this is only going to happen on turn 3, but this is after he's going to have done his trauma immunity to everybody. So you won't have any real risk of that actually proccing. If you do manage to control him turn 1 with, you know, the impair and he resist it, he'll still remove the trauma, he'll still put up the immunity to everybody, and then on the 2nd turn he'll be neutralizing people and removing other debuffs. Burn, bleed, infection, it'll all get cleansed by this special in the 3rd slot. Okay, so this time around, I have not got an impair resist on him. He will get impaired by Jesus, so he'll do his active, but he will not get the 100% AP gain. That means on his turn 2, he will obviously do a basic attack. Let's see if he actually manages to cleanse all the other stuff that I've put on this team. So I'll put, let's say, heal reduction. We've also stunned Rick. We'll put infection. And that's it, pretty much it. We've got lots of stuff on this team. And this is where the cleanse would normally be fantastic. And as you can see, everything got cleansed. His basic attack just cleansed all of his teammates. And he could potentially have like a cleanse weapon on himself as well, because he's an alert character. And he's going to make it extremely difficult to take down teams. So like what I was saying before, where you could have Connor, Jesus, and this guy on a team, and maybe you could get through a burn, and maybe you could get through a bleed. Well, that doesn't look as good right now. However, if you do manage to stop him from doing his active, that cleanse will then become quite, destructive to his own team. So if you manage to daze him on turn 1, Priya, and who else we've got? Michonne, that could actually work in your favor, but you've got to stack up lots of effects early on to do that, because people who are going to get Carl most likely got someone like Connor as well, and Connor will just block all those actives for turn 2 that you saw me doing, and any sort of abilities will not come off from rushes because of Jesus. So yeah, the cleanse won't really be that effective, and obviously the trauma won't do that much damage because of that. But if he gets that active off, obviously it won't do any damage at all. So yeah, the weapon is very, very powerful, and it works really well into the kit, and the synergy between those 3 characters is very, very, very good. But obviously they're extremely overtuned individually, and as a trio, it just gets ridiculous. But I think we all kind of expected that with the characters that would be coming out. Extremely powerful S-class characters. And well, if you want to get your hands on this guy, he's going to be very powerful on your roster. He has got an extremely powerful active, enables that rush to go off really quickly. If he gets that active off, the weapon is just like freedom. The only downside you've got with him, in just like pure downsides, is he is a massive window. Like, he doesn't do anything when someone attacks him. So it's a lot of freedom to just disarm him, and then like if you miss the disarm, still stack up attacks. You could potentially try and take him out turn 1 with some tough characters, very heavy hitting tough characters out there. So I mean, it's up to you. I mean, a stun weapon would still work really well in his hands, but it just depends on how good you think that cleanse is. How good do you think that works? And in the right setup with the right other characters, yeah, you could have a 5-man team that would be pretty much indestructible at this point, at least for the next few weeks at least. But that's my thoughts on Kyle. Do give me yours in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you are new to my channel, maybe think about hitting subscribe. If you are a subscriber, make sure you've got notifications turned on. Do the drop down and change it to all, so you get to find out when every single one of my videos comes out. My live streams go live. But that is the end of this one today, guys. I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.